2:47 a.m. A warehouse in Detroit, 184 missing children, and a network so sophisticated even the FBI didn't see it coming. What happened in the next 6 hours would expose America's darkest secret and change federal law enforcement forever. This is the story they tried to bury. Until now. Welcome back to Delta Tactical, where we uncover the operations the mainstream won't touch. I'm your host, and today's investigation will shake you to your core. Before we dive in, I need to know, are you ready for the truth? Drop a yes in the comments right now because what you're about to hear, there's no going back. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this channel is your front line to stories like this. Raw, real, and relentless. Now let's begin.
I'm gonna die here anyway, so what does it matter, bro?
We got no. We get a
Do not move! The Los Angeles Police Department, do not move!
For 02 a.m., FBI hostage rescue team, ICE HSI, and Detroit SWAT converged from 4 entry points: radio silence, night vision, and a clock ticking, because intelligence suggested a shipment was leaving at dawn. The first door came down in 3 seconds. What they found inside stopped even veteran agents cold. A corridor, 40 feet long, both walls lined with numbered doors, 1 through 24, each door locked from the outside. Behind door number 7, agents found 6 children sitting in complete darkness, ages 5 to 14. They didn't scream, they didn't run, they just sat there waiting for instructions. One agent later told investigators, it was like they'd been trained to be invisible, but this wasn't chaos. This was precision. Color-coded wristbands, purple, yellow, orange, each color mapped to a different interstate route. Yellow meant Ohio, purple meant Pennsylvania, orange meant out of the country. On a whiteboard, investigators found departure schedules cross-referenced with state police shift changes. Someone inside this operation knew exactly when law enforcement patrols were thinnest. And before you think this was some isolated operation, listen to this. In a locked office, agents recovered spreadsheets tracking 327 individual cases across 9 states. Names, ages, medical records, delivery locations. This wasn't trafficking. This was inventory management. But while agents were securing the main building, something was happening 200 yards away. A second warehouse, 3 cargo vans, engines already running. ICE units intercepted the convoy at the perimeter fence. What happened next was captured on body cameras. Van 1 rammed through the gate, pursued by 2 federal vehicles. Van 2's driver abandoned it and fled on foot into a drainage tunnel. Van 3 crashed into a concrete barrier. When agents opened the rear doors, they found 23 children packed inside. No ventilation, no water, some unconscious. The youngest was 3 years old. Tactical teams moved through the facility like surgical instruments. Flashbangs shattered the silence as they cleared room after room. In one chamber, agents discovered a makeshift medical station. Syringes filled with sedatives, rubber gloves scattered across a folding table, and small plastic cups lined up in rows, each marked with a number, not a name. In the eastern section of the warehouse, a steel staircase led to an observation deck overlooking the entire operation. From this vantage point, supervisors could monitor every movement below. Agents found notebooks filled with coded entries, shift rotations written in shorthand, and a laminated map showing safe transport corridors across the Midwest. One page caught investigators' attention. A list of upcoming deliveries with corresponding price points. The numbers ranged from $30,000 to $80,000. Next to each figure was a single word: premium, standard, or clearance. They were categorizing children like merchandise. Behind a false wall in the supervisor's office, federal agents uncovered something that changed the entire investigation. A safe containing 3 external hard drives, 2 burner phones, and a manila folder labeled authorized access. Inside were photocopies of law enforcement duty rosters, federal inspection schedules, and highway patrol coverage maps. Someone had been feeding operational intelligence directly to the traffickers. While extraction teams evacuated the children, FBI cyber forensics cracked open the operations server, and what they found rewrote everything investigators thought they knew. Client lists, payment histories, and a chat log that made agents physically ill. I can't read it to you, and trust me, you don't want me to. But here's what I can tell you. This network had been operating for 7 years. It had customers in 14 states, and the average transaction was $50,000 per child. But here's where it gets darker. Buried in those files was a folder labeled Safe Windows, times when law enforcement presence was minimal, shift schedules, patrol routes, court dates for officers. Someone with access to federal databases was feeding intel to traffickers. By 9 a.m., FBI Internal Affairs had 3 suspects in custody. By noon, 2 had confessed. One was a contractor with access to DHS systems. The other was a retired state trooper. Let me ask you something, and I want honest answers in the comments. Do you believe corruption at this level is rare or just rarely exposed? Because after covering these stories for 3 years, I can tell you, this isn't the exception. It's the pattern. January 14th, 2024. Detroit's industrial corridor. While the city slept, federal agents were tracking something that didn't exist on any official map. For 3 months, FBI cyber analysts had been monitoring encrypted payment chains, cryptocurrency flowing through shell companies, all converging on a single location. Sector 7 Industrial Park. But here's what they didn't expect. Thermal imaging from surveillance drones showed 97 heat signatures inside a building marked permanently vacant since 2019. And here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. How does a vacant building consume more power than a hospital? The investigation began when a single Bitcoin transaction triggered an automated alert at FBI headquarters. The amount, $127,000, was wired through a digital wallet linked to a dissolved LLC in Nevada. Analysts traced the funds backward through 7 shell companies, each registered in a different state, before hitting a dead end at an encrypted server farm in Eastern Europe. But someone made a mistake. One transaction included metadata that revealed a physical IP address, and that address pointed to an industrial complex in Detroit that officially didn't exist on any commercial registry. Surveillance began immediately. For 11 days, undercover agents watched the location from concealed positions. What they observed sent the case to the highest priority level. Delivery trucks arrived only at night, always between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., always with blacked-out windows, and always staying for exactly 40 minutes before departing on the 12th night. A thermal drone captured something that made the operation commander give the green light for immediate action. Multiple small heat signatures moving in organized patterns inside the structure. Too many to be staff, too coordinated to be random. The order came through at 3:30 a.m. Execute the raid at first light. By 7 a.m., all 184 children were accounted for. Medical teams worked through the day. Psychologists arrived from 6 different states. And then the reunions began. A mother from Cleveland who hadn't seen her daughter in 9 months walked into the crisis center. Her daughter was sitting with a trauma counselor, holding a stuffed dog someone had given her. The girl looked up, blinked once, and whispered, "Mommy." That moment, that's why these agents do what they do. Emergency medical personnel established a triage station in the parking lot. Children were evaluated for dehydration, malnutrition, and injuries. Some had bruises in various stages of healing. Others showed signs of prolonged psychological trauma, vacant stares, mechanical responses, and inability to make eye contact. One little boy, approximately 6 years old, asked a medic if he was allowed to drink water without permission. Another child flinched when a female agent reached out to comfort her. A teenager sat silently for 3 hours before finally speaking, asking only one question: "Are you taking us to another place?" Federal counselors documented behaviors that suggested systematic conditioning. Children who wouldn't eat until given explicit permission. Kids who stood in formation automatically when adults entered the room. And several who referred to themselves only by numbers, having forgotten or been forced to abandon their real names. But justice doesn't stop at rescue. Within 72 hours, 47 suspects arrested across 8 states. For $0.2 million in assets seized. 12 shell companies shut down. 3 international warrants issued. The ringleader? A logistics coordinator who'd been using legitimate shipping routes to move children hidden among freight cargo. He's now facing 600 years in federal prison. Coordinated raids hit locations simultaneously across Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Michigan. Federal agents seized laptops containing encrypted communications between network operators. Financial records revealed a sophisticated money laundering operation funneling profits through cryptocurrency exchanges and offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. One arrested suspect, a warehouse manager from Toledo, broke during interrogation and provided details that opened 3 additional investigations. He described a recruitment system that targeted vulnerable families through fake job postings and fraudulent social services. Children were separated from parents under the pretense of temporary housing assistance, then disappeared into the network within 48 hours. But here's what keeps federal agents awake at night. This operation in Detroit, it was one hub in a network that spans the entire country. For every location they shut down, intelligence suggests 3 more are operating right now. Highways, hotels, truck stops, even residential neighborhoods. These networks hide in plain sight, so I'm going to tell you the same thing FBI community liaisons tell every audience. If you see something that doesn't feel right, kids who look scared, adults who won't let them speak, movement patterns that seem off, don't ignore it. The National Human Trafficking Hotline is 1-888-373-7888. That number has saved lives. So let me ask you one final question before you go. Now that you know this is happening, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to scroll past? Or are you going to be part of the awareness that shuts these networks down? If the story made you feel something, don't let that feeling fade. Hit that like button so YouTube pushes this to more people. Share it, because every share could reach someone who recognizes a sign they've been ignoring. Drop justice in the comments if you stand with these agents. And subscribe to Delta Tactical because we're just getting started. Next week, we're exposing the technology traffickers use to evade detection. You won't want to miss it. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and never look away.